Have you always wanted to play Elemental Shaman and maybe want a little bit easier time playing it? You know, something that can handle your rotation, your cooldowns and so on? Then I might got the thing for you. Using the Single-Button Assistant, it can be way more relaxing playing Elemental Shaman, and trust me, you're going to deal a great amount of damage. And in this video here, I will basically talk about how we can min-max with the Single-Button Assistant, making sure that you deal a lot of damage even though using the Single-Button Assistant. So if you're still interested in this video here, I will go through the stats, the talents, the rotation, and even some gameplay in the end of the video. So let's get to it. So when it comes to stats, what I always recommend in all my guides is that you should always try to go with the highest upgrade level. For example, here you can see I have my belt on my waist and it's upgrade level called Champion. If I got another belt from a boss or whatever, I would never pick another belt if it has a lower upgrade level. So if it has like, you know, Adventure, Veteran, I would never pick it. I would only pick it if it's a Champion as this one here with better secondary stats, or if it's a hero or mythic item. So only if it's a high upgrade level or if it's the same upgrade level but with better secondary stats. So never go down an upgrade level would be my advice for you. Even though I know with Elemental Shaman a lot of people they don't care about eye level or upgrade level, they just want as much mastery as possible, kind of up to 1200, which is about those 70-80% I believe. But so regarding secondary stats, let's say that I have my helmet here, which is a champion helmet. In case I find another helmet which has the same upgrade level, then I would start looking at the secondary stats. Of course, in this case here, I know it's a set piece, so I would always keep my set piece, but you know what I mean, like if it's my waist, for example. First of all, we have Mastery. Mastery is such a powerful spell. Basically, you have this overload effect where you can all your spells can like duplicate, cast additional times. You probably have seen when you cast like some of your spells, sometimes there's just like 5 of them coming out, which is looking insane. But this is all increased by Mastery. So for example, you can see here, all elemental damage is increased by 16%, so it increases some of the damage slow, like a little bit. And then it says that your Lightning Bolt, Tempest, Lava Burst, and Chain Lightning cast have 45% chance to trigger a second cast on the same target, dealing 42% of the normal damage and generating less Maelstrom. So basically, the more mastery we have, the more elemental damage we do, and the more chance we have. You can see, for example, if I take my helmet off, which is this one here, and I go in here, you can see now it only has a 41% chance to trigger like an additional lightning ball and so on. But with my helmet, which has mastery on, now it goes back to 45. So we like mastery because mastery basically gives a higher chance of all our damaging spells, well, the damage spells on this list here, to deal like additionally damage, and you see more of those like spells all over the screen, which is freaking amazing. So what they usually say is like you should get up to like 1200 mastery, and you can see I have like 500, but don't think too much about it, just, you know, get some mastery. Secondly, we have haste and crit. So if you imagine like you have one of those roleplay Dungeons and Dragons triangles where you can see the stats, you should have 50% of, like if you could pick all your stats, you should have 50% of your stats in mastery, 25% in haste, and 25% in crit. But because both haste and crit is actually equal important, but mastery is still the best. So put 50% of all your stats in mastery and 25% in haste and critical strike. So what does haste and crit actually do? So haste is basically increasing your cast speed, so you cast spells faster. It reduces the global cooldown, and since we in this guide here using Single-Button Assistant, we have a global cooldown which is 25% longer. So haste of course is also very nice because it reduces the global cooldown. So all haste reduces your cast speed and also reduces your global cooldown. But because we have a lot of spells that takes time to cast, like Lightning Ball, Chain Lightning, Lava Burst, Elemental Blast, these spells all takes time to cast. So it's nice to have more haste because you basically reduce the cast time of these spells. Then you have critical strike. Usually critical strike is a stat that gives you increased chance to do double damage on enemies. So you know sometimes sometimes you do normal damage on enemies, sometimes you do double damage. And the more the more crit you have, the higher chance you have to do double damage. And Elemental Shaman actually deals more than the double damage because we have Elemental Fury here. Your damaging spell critical strike deal 325 damage instead of usually 200. This one here is actually also pumped up by other talents. For example, this one here down here gives additionally 25%. And then you have another one down here which gives additionally 50%. And you have this one over here which gives additionally 5%. So basically, normally everyone is dealing 200% more damage when they crit, but we deal more than 300% more when we actually crit, which is insane. So when we actually crit, it really, really hurts. And that's why haste and both critical strike is really important, but mastery is still more important. So again, mastery, haste, crit equal. Versatility, we don't really care about it. Like the only time I would ever care about it if I was a solo player and I did a lot of like delves and solo content and I never like did group content, then versatility can be nice because it will reduce the damage you take. Also, if you do player versus player PvP, then of course versatility is also nice because it reduces the damage you take. It increases the healing you do and the damage you do. So it's kind of like I would say usually a PvP stat, tanking stat, solo play stat. But for Elemental Shaman, I would only go with versatility if I was really like a hardcore solo player. But if you do group content, I would never really recommend like versatility and go with everything else instead. But yeah, that's the stats. So when it comes to talents, we actually have two different builds and they are very, very similar, like very much the same, but there's a little difference which can increase the single target damage and the multiple target damage. By the way, in case you want the export code for both these builds here, you can find them on my Discord, linked in the description. The reason for why I only post them on my Discord and not in the comment section on this video is because then I can keep updating them all the time with screenshots and make better explanations over there, instead of just having them on Discord and on YouTube, and they would be outdated. So I hope you understand. But I have all my export keys for like my talents, my interface and everything on my Discord, so I can keep updating them for you. So when it comes to talents, we have two builds. We have a dungeon build and we have a raid build. Both of the builds are very, very, very similar to the meta builds out there. I have just only done like a very few like modifications, which is basically for maybe a little bit more survivability, but else it's pretty much very close to the meta build. This is just a build that people use, no matter what guide you're going to find, no matter which like website you're going to go to. This is the build that is just like, Omega for Elemental Shamans. And the cool thing with playing a DPS is that when you use Single-Button Assistant, which was mainly designed for damage dealers, all the meta damage dealer builds are actually excellent for Single-Button Assistant. So it's only really like survivability and small like, nice things that you can change around with. But yeah, so both we have the dungeon build and we have the raid build. The dungeon build is the one I recommend for like using when you're leveling, doing delves, dungeons. And then the raid build is like only for like single target damage, like, dedicated bosses, like single target bosses. If I was going into, like for example, the new raid and I was going to do the Clave boss, like with the 3 paladins you have to fight against, I would probably use the dungeon build due to higher like AoE damage. But then for every of the bosses where it's like 1 or 2 mobs, then I would go with the raid build. Now you might ask, what is the difference between these two builds here? So in the dungeon build, we are using, for example, Eye of the Storm, which is reducing the Maelstrom cost of Earth Shock and Earthquake, and reduce the Maelstrom cost of Elemental Blast. It makes sense because we want to do a lot of more AoE damage, so it makes sense to reduce the cost of Earthquake. Then we have also taken Voltaic Blaze, which is replacing your Flame Shock with an AoE Flame Shock that basically can split up to 5 enemies, so instantly shock the target and 5 enemies within 10 yards, and applying Flame Shock dealing blah blah blah. So we actually, like, instead of only applying Flame Shock to 1, we apply Flame Shock to multiple targets. And then we have this one here called Lightning Rod, which we use in both the raid build and the dungeon build. But then with this build here, with the dungeon build, we are increasing the duration of Lightning Rod by 4 seconds and its damage bonus by 25%. So this is the main key of the dungeon build, not the main key of it, but that's the difference. With the raid build instead, we're having these 3 talents here instead. Of course, on the left side here, we are replacing the healing totem with the Windrush totem, which is a nice addition, especially in a raid when you want to like run it a little bit faster. And we're also taking Totemic Surge off and taking this one here, which is a Windrush totem cooldown is reduced by 30 seconds, and its movement speed effect lasts an additional 2 seconds. So this is just a really nice to have in raids, because you can like use it in a lot of scenarios where you're getting pushed and so on, which can help your team not getting pushed. But in case you're going to fight a boss where you don't need this, you can always take it off and take, for example, Tremor Totem as great on the Dragon boss in the raids, and so on. But okay, back to the right side here. So in this build here, we are not using Charged Conduit, we're not using Eye of the Storm, and not using Voltaic Blaze, because this is the single target build, the raid build. Here we are instead using Master of the Elements. Casting Lava Burst increases the damage or healing of your next nature, physical, or frost spell by 50%. Very nice, since Lava Burst is a high priority in the single target rotation. Then we are also taking these 2 here, which is super great. Casting Lava Burst has a 15% chance to cause your next Lightning Bolt, Tempest, or Chain Lightning cast to trigger Elemental Overload an additional time, and it can stack up to 2 times. So basically, bigger chance for like your spells to do double damage, which is nice. Well, not double damage, but like throw additional spells out. And then this one here, consuming power of the Maelstrom additionally fires an elemental blast at your target at 40% effectiveness. In a dungeon build, this one wouldn't be really like, super effective, but on a boss fight, this one here can really do like difference, because I mean it's 40% of the elemental blast. Elemental blast gives damage and buffs, so it's kind of nice to like throw out additionally 3 elemental blasts, especially on a raid boss. But that's like the main difference between that. Everything here is very meta. We're having the Call of Fire Ascendance. We're also having the cooldown of Ascendance is reduced by 60 seconds. So basically it's only a 2-minute cooldown. We also have Primal Elementalist. Your Earth, Fire, and Storm Elementals are drawn from primal elements, 80% more powerful than regular elements with additional abilities, and you gain direct control over your primal fire elemental. So just strong elementals, which we of course like. But everything else, then we also have all the things that gives more critical strike damage, and we also have casting Stormkeeper summons a primal storm elemental to hurl gust of wind at your enemies. And our Stormkeeper only has a cooldown on, where is it? Stormkeeper there, on 45 seconds. So basically, whenever you use Stormkeeper, like 45 seconds, you're also summoning this elemental here, which deals damage, which is quite nice. So when, for example, you're bursting and you're starting using Ascendance and you're using Stormkeeper, you basically summon like both elementals because of this one here. Ascendance summons a primal fire elemental to rain destruction on your enemies for 24 seconds. While the fire elemental is active, Flameshock deals 33% faster, and newly applied Flameshock lasts 100% longer. So basically, when we use Stormkeeper, we summon an elemental. When we use Ascendance, we summon an elemental. And you're gonna have 2 elementals every time you start bursting, dealing damage. So it's pretty great. Ascendance is also a lovely cooldown, which luckily is not inside the single-button assistant, because we want to control when we use this. I would use it on like big pulls or on boss fights and so on, because it's just nice. You can see here, transform into a Flame Ascendant for 15 seconds, instantly cast Flame Shock and 100% effectiveness Lava Burst at up to 6 nervy enemies. So you actually don't have to first blast all the mobs with Voltaic Blaze. You can just use Ascendance and it's just gonna like blast them all. And while ascended elemental basically when you are inside this form here, elemental overload damage is increased by 75, and spells affected by your mastery elemental overload cause 1 additionally overload. So instead of our overload only deals 42% of the norm, like when you actually cast your elemental lava burst and it casts additional lava burst, it would only deal 42% damage. But now it's going to get 75% on top of it, which basically means it's going to deal more damage than the normal lava burst. So whenever like you throw out like 5 lava bursters with this one here, it's going to deal a lot of damage. So trust me, this button here, when you press it, it's big damage time. And I love it because we have it outside of the single button rotation. Regarding the left side here, just very quickly want to touch on, we have Earth Shield, and we have this one here, which makes Earth Shield on you like all the time. So when you actually cast, or for example, when you cast Lightning Shield, it will automatically give you a Lightning Shield and Earth Shield for 1 hour. And then when you take damage, you can heal like 5,000 when you take damage, which is really great. So like you keep automatically healing, which is nice. And you can also apply this shield here to a tank, so in case you like have a tank in your group or someone who keeps dying, you can also apply it to them, so you can have like 2 active at the same time. And I just love it that you can have those 2 active all the time. But that's basically the talents. Very meta talents. The main difference, again, as you saw, was these 3 nodes here that we picked, and that's pretty much it. So let's go to the rotation part. When it comes to rotation, the Single-Button Assistant is basically going to be doing everything for you. It knows when to do AoE, it knows when to do single target damage. The only thing you have to do is pressing 1 and using number 2 whenever you are like going to burst on a boss, or you're gonna like if the tank pulls like a very big group of mobs. It's also really good to use Ascendance as well, which is your big damage spell. Ascendance you can use every 2 minutes. The thing is, Single-Button Assistant is using all your abilities, so Chain Lightning, Earthquake, Elemental Blast, Lava Burst, Lightning Ball, and even Voltaic Blaze / Flame Shock. The thing is, so when you attack a big group of mobs like them 5 over there, it will keep using Voltaic Blaze to keep like a dot on all the enemies. It's gonna keep using Chain Lightning, and it's going to keep using Earthquake. And whenever like Lightning Ball get upgraded to Tempest, those 4 spells are just going to keep rotating through. It's never going to be using Elemental Blast because that spell uses too much Maelstrom and it's only single target. And it's never going to be using Lava Burst because it's only also single target. But though, if you have the talent here called Purging Flames, where it actually deals Lava Burst damage to all the enemies, it will actually use that one in AoE situations as well, but we don't use that one. And the meta doesn't do as well. When you are attacking then single target damages, it will then replace Earthquake with Maelstrom, and it will replace Chain Lightning with Lava Burst and Lightning Balls. So, and it will do this all automatically. It's not like some of the other class guides I've made where you have to like drag out a few additional spells to help it a little bit. You don't have to do that here. It knows pretty much what to do. I can give you a taste of it. So basically here we have the mob here. It will now tell you it's only going to be using Voltaic Blaze. It's going to be using Chain Lightning, Earthquake, and Tempest. That's the 4 spells that it's just going to keep using. So you can see here, Voltaic Blaze, of course Stormkeeper, because that's in our build. Chain Lightning, Earthquake, Chain Lightning, Earthquake, Chain Lightning, and whenever it has enough Maelstrom, Earthquake, Tempest, as I said, and now it's just gonna go repeat. That's the 4 spells that it's just gonna keep repeating. It doesn't care about Lava Burst because that spell is just not worth using in a scenario like this. It wouldn't do enough damage. But if we then turn around and start looking at this mob here instead, now it's interested using Lava Burst. And of course in the raid build here we don't have Voltaic Blaze, which then would be Flame Shock. So first it's going to apply our Flame Shock here, then it's going to be using Lava Burst, Stormkeeper, Lightning Ball, and you can see it's kind of like the opposite side. So over there it will only use pretty much AoE spells, but here it will keep going between all your single target spells. And whenever you have 80 Maelstrom, it's going to be using Elemental Blast. And this is so cool because you don't have to think about like when should I be using this rotation and when should I be using this rotation. No. All that is handled by a single button rotation. The only thing you have to think about is when to use Ascendance. Remember, Ascendance is making everything you do dealing more damage. Your Overload will deal more damage, it will happen more often, and also it's going to apply Flame Shock to all your mobs you're attacking, and it's going to apply Lava Burst. You can see like when you use it now, boom, like it applies Flame Shock to everything, and it also makes you... it also casts Lava Burst on everyone. So like it's a really great thing. The tank just pulled a lot of different mobs. Like it's a big pull that needs to be killed fast. then you use Ascendance. Or you're about to attack a boss that is going to deal a lot of, like, like a big boss, like a normal boss, you know what I mean, like a boss fight, then you also spend Ascendance. And I would personally spend it in the start of the fight, because a lot of fights allow you to actually use it again, because some of the fights take like 3 to 5 minutes, and then you will be able to spend Ascendance like twice in that fight. So don't save it. Even on like whenever like a tank pulls big mobs, just use it, because you're gonna be able to use it again. Don't you worry. Elemental Shaman is actually currently the spec. When you go, for example, there's a website called Noxic where they test the single button and how much damage it deals. And in all the tests they do with the single button system, Elemental Shaman is actually the one dealing most damage and losing like the least damage from single button assistant, which is really cool. It was the same at the previous expansion. And you might be asking, why is Elemental Shaman so good with single button assistant? Why is everyone else getting more punished? That is because the other classes and specs, they have more instant cast abilities. And if I'm trying to get a little nerdy with the single button, so normally when you use a spell like this, you can see all your spells, they kind of like load around. If you don't use the single button assistant, that will take you 1.5 seconds before another spell is ready. Of course, the more haste you have, the faster it becomes. But when you use the single button assistant, it will be 25% longer, which means it will, instead of being 1.5, it will be 1.8. And most of the spells we're casting as Elemental Shaman takes 1.8 seconds to cast. 1.8, 1.8, 1.5, 1.5. So whenever we have casted a spell with the single button assistant, the global cooldown is already off, and the single button assistant don't even feel the punishment. The punishment we get for using the button is almost not there, because it doesn't care about it, because the spells takes enough long time to actually cast between each of these global cooldowns. Of course, you get punished then when you cast Earthquake and when you cast Voltaic Blaze, because then of course it will feel that 25% longer global cooldown. But your main rotation has so many spells that takes cast time, so that's why Elemental Shaman doesn't really feel the punishment from the single button system. Of course, if you play against someone who plays perfectly Elemental Shaman, they will still roughly maybe deal like 10% more damage than you, but that's gonna be it. Like, that's pretty much it. So whenever you play against like an Elemental Shaman who does know their rotation, or maybe they click their spells slowly, you're most likely gonna deal more damage than them, because it just works so perfectly with Elemental Shaman. Enough gossip. So now, as a tradition, because a lot of new people is actually watching my videos who are coming to World of Warcraft for the first time or something like that. So let me explain you what all the other spells I have down here does. So first of all, we have the single button rotation. Woohoo. Then we have Ascendance, which is our big damage buff. Then we have Gust of the Wind. Gust of the Wind is a great spell because it makes you fly for like 1 second. But for example, if you're jumping down from a very high point and you're about to hit the ground, you can use Gust of the Wind and basically avoid fall damage. It can also help you to quickly get out of fire, and it can also help you for like maybe jumping from another point to another point that you normally cannot jump to, kind of like Demon Hunters with the double jump. So it's just like a great little utility spell. But in case you hate it, you can always remove it. You can see we have the talent here, and you can also instead take one here that just gives you increased run speed, or you can remove it and take whatever you want instead. But a great little utility spell. Then we have Healing Surge, basically a spell that you can heal yourself or you can heal someone else. It's just a spell that it's your main healing spell. It uses 25k mana, so you will only be able to cast a few of them. You can see my mana is already going down. And don't you worry, we don't use mana for the rotation when damaging. So basically your mana is only here for actually spending on shield buffs and healing. So yeah. Then we have Wind Shear. So imagine one of the mobs you're fighting, like this mob here, is that one there, is going to be casting a spell you don't want it to cast, and it's interruptible. Then you can cast a Wind Shear, boom, and it will stop casting that spell. And it only has 12-second cooldown, which is pretty cool. Then we also have Ghost Wolf, a spell that makes you run faster. And we have this talent here, which is going to increase the movement speed by 5%. you gain 5% increased movement speed and 5% damage reduction every second you are inside it, and it can stack up to 4 times. So you can see now, after 4 seconds, I believe it's 4 seconds, yeah, after 4 seconds, I have 20% extra movement speed, and also I take 20% less damage. It's a great spell to like use when you have to like run before mechanics. But overall, it's going to increase your movement speed by 60 with this buff here. Then we have Purge. Imagine the mob you're fighting gets a shield or healing all time from another support mob. Then we have the spell called Purge, which is removing that effect. So it removes shields, it removes like healings, and so on. We also have Nature Swiftness, which makes your next healing or damaging nature spell instant cast. So you could use Nature Swiftness inside your rotation. Then next time you cast, for example, it could be Chain Lightning. You can use then Nature Swiftness and Chain Lightning, and it would be instant cast. So you could technically press it every time it's free, but I think most people, they save it for maybe like a healing, so you could also like use it and then self-heal you very quickly. So it's kind of up to you if you want to use it inside the rotation, or if you want to like use it as a healing spell. But it just makes your next nature spell like, you know, instant. Then we have Astral Shift, which is a super important spell. Astral Shift only has a 1.5 minute cooldown, but it reduces all the damage you take by 40% for 12 seconds. That's like one of the longest defensive like spells we have in the game. Most of the other classes, their defensives that reduce a lot of damage is like 6 seconds or something like that. But this one here is like 12 seconds. So whenever you can see a boss is about to throw something that deals a lot of damage to everyone or something like that, then I would be using Astral Shift. Just, you know, don't save it. Just use it whenever like you take high damage, whenever you take a mob aggro, whenever you can see your HP is going down quickly, use it. Then we have Spirit Walker's Grace. This is going to be your best friend, because when we are fighting bosses where we have to move a lot, you can lose a lot of damage because you're not able to stand still and fighting them. So what do you do then? That is when you're going to be using your Spirit Walker's Grace, because then for 15 seconds you can cast any spells while moving. So for example, imagine we are fighting a boss now where I have to move all the time. Then I use Spirit Walker's Grace, and now I can move and I can cast any spell I want for 15 seconds. And it is great. Like, it really feels nice, because there is some bosses where you just have to move. Like, sometimes you can stand still, but don't use the cooldown ASAP. Wait till they actually use a mechanic where you now have to move for like a couple of seconds. If it's one of those bosses where you just have to like go out to the corner and put like a thing on the ground and then back in, don't use it. But like, try to save it for like mechanics where you have to like move now for like 10 seconds. Then it's because then you're not going to lose DPS, and it's already ready after 1.5 minutes, which is pretty nice. Then we also have Earth Elemental. A lot of people believe this spell here is a damage spell. It's not. Earth Elemental is a supportive spell. So basically you can see here, what happens if I summon my Elemental Shield? Elemental protects you, increasing your maximum health by 15% for 36 seconds. So when I summon it, yes, it will go and attack my target. It will, like you can see here, it will actually deal some damage. But the thing is, like, even my auto attack still almost deals the same damage as this minion here. So no, it's not going to give you way more damage, because you can see it has really low damage. But what it does is that it increases your HP by 15%, and it will no longer like take aggro, which is awesome. Because before, if you don't take this one here, then it will basically be taunting and taking aggro from everyone. So if you do a delve and you want to like make sure that you can use this one here as like your tank, then you might want to remove this one here just for the delve, this one here. But this one here does that, it actually increases your HP by 15, and it just deals damage. But again, remember, it's not a damage spell. It's more like for you to get some more HP and survive. So just saying. Then imagine you have a few mobs here, which is all going to be casting a spell at the same time. You have two options to actually interrupt them. Well, actually three. We of course have the Wind Shear, but that only interrupts one of them. Then we have Capacitated Totem, which interrupts them all. It stuns them all for like, I don't know, like 2 seconds. But then we also have Thunderstorm, which pushes them all, like it pushes them all to the sides. Some people can be annoyed about it because it pushes them away from me. So, you know, that you have to like hunt down the mobs again. The tank can maybe be like, ugh. But if they really cast a spell that no one has enough to interrupt, it might be a lifesaver. So, just saying. Then we also have Earthbind Totem, which just makes all the mobs run way, way slower, like 50%, which can be nice. Then we have Clean Spirit. In case someone gets a curse on them, you can actually help the healer remove that. Then I personally have picked Healing Stream Totem, but this is the one that almost no one plays with. Most people, they would play with either Tremor Totem or Poisoning Cleaning Totem. If you get into a dungeon where they have a lot of poison, then, you know, take off Healing Stream Totem, take the poison one and just replace the place here. But for me, when I don't have to cleanse poisons all the time, then I like to have my Healing Stream Totem, because it's basically up for 18 seconds and then it's almost ready again to be cast again, and it just keeps like healing 3,000 to 5,000 to everyone like all the time. So it's just like a passive healer, which I find pretty nice. Then we have Chain Heal. In case like your entire party is getting like low in HP, you can help the healer with spamming Chain Heal, and it will just like, you know, keep like healing both you and all your teammates, which is nice. Like it just jumps between everyone and heals. So, you know, help out the healer. Then we have Lightning Shield. When you use Lightning Shield, it will automatically use Lightning Shield. It will automatically use Earth Shield on you and on yourself. So you don't have to actually press Earth Shield. Lightning Shield gives both of the buffs on. Then you of course also have to use Sky Fury, which gives 2% of mastery to everyone, and also it gives everyone's auto attack a 20% chance to instantly strike again, which is pretty cool. And then, as I said before, you can also use Earth Shield on the tank or the healer. Depends on who dies all the time. Like I would probably do it on the tank, because then both you and the tank can have Earth Shield on. So technically, as an Elemental Shaman, you have Earth Shield on the tank that helps them. You can have down Healing Stream Totem almost 100% uptime. So you can actually do some supportive and help the entire team healing. And whenever like everyone gets low, you can help the healer with also spamming some Chain Heal. Of course, your main focus is to deal damage, but still, I'm just saying, like, Elemental Shamans can actually be quite useful. And then, of course, we have Hex, which is a spell, like, it's the same as the sheep spell from mages, where you, like, make them into a sheep. We just make them into a frog. And then, of course, you have Bloodlust, which increases haste by 30% to everyone for 40 seconds. And it's a spell that you can only use it every 10 minutes because you get this debuff here when you use it, but it's a very, very powerful spell that gives everyone 30% haste, which basically makes everyone able to cast way, way, way faster. So everyone will be able to cast spells so fast, which is amazing. You should usually, in normal content, like normal dungeons and so on, people save it for the last boss. In raids, it depends on the mechanics. Sometimes some bosses, they want you to use it on the start of the boss fight. Some bosses require you to wait using it till a phase where, for example, at the raid where you have to kill the phoenix, then it becomes an egg, and then you want to use it when it becomes an egg. So, you know, ask your team, when should I be using Bloodlust? Or Heroism, it's called, if you're playing Alliance. Okay, that I spent way too much time talking about the rotation and the spells. My bad. But at least now you can complain and say, hey, I don't know what this spell is doing. So let's go to a dungeon and I will just show you quickly 2 minutes gameplay. Alright, so we're gonna buff myself, we're gonna buff everyone with Sky Fury, and we're gonna give the tank a Earth Shield. Now I'm gonna just quickly help the tank, pulling everything in the room in here, just so we can do some fun damage. Let's hope I'm not gonna die. Gonna throw a Healing Stream Totem. The tank is now gonna pull everything. Very bad positioning. Now I'm gonna use my Ascendance and I'm gonna spam my single button, and you're gonna see some big numbers now. Gonna be spamming, and now very quickly you can see the damage meter down there that I am taking over. Have about 130k, 40k, 140k DPS. And remember, my eye level is only 218, so it's pretty shit. But if you had like better gear, like 240, whichever like higher eye level you're gonna have, then you would gonna see those numbers are gonna be either doubled or tripled. But But yeah, as you saw, Ascendance was basically spamming Flame Shock on everyone. It was using Lava Burst on everyone. And then after that, all my 100 Chain Lightnings I used was like doing way many more overloads and way much more damage from those overloads. So as you can see, pretty good damage. When we probably get down to a boss fight, it's going to be more equal, and we're going to probably deal the same amount of damage to the boss as the followers, since the followers, they scale up with you. But as you can see, and it's also some classes when they're about to do AoE, they can actually be sometimes hard setting up because you need to like use a lot of spells that sets up. But the single button rotation is quite handy because, you know, the tank does a big pull like that. You use Ascendance, which is going to do great burst damage at this time. And then you just keep spamming one, and it will keep, you know, going between. You can see here, all the damage came from Earthquake, Tempest, Chain Lightning, Lightning Rod, and my Elementals and so on. So, pretty great. But let's try a boss fight. Alright, it's time for a boss fight. We are buffed up, everyone. Everyone is ready to go, so let's do it. I'm gonna start pulling from my healing totem, and we're gonna go. Let's go. Using Ascendance, now ready to burst. This fight here is very important to save Spirit Walker's Grace, because when you actually have to move, like now, not right now, but like when it's about to do this mechanic here, then now we're going to be using it, because now I can, because else you're going to be like drawing around, you're going to be going into tornadoes, but then Spirit Walker's Grace is now allowing me to actually move away from all the obstacles while casting, and I am not going to lose any damage on it. Since, let's say, imagine this was the last boss, we're actually going to be using our Bloodlust. I should probably have used that in the start of the fight, but now using it, I'm going to use my jump spell to get away from jumping straight into another tornado. Gonna keep spamming. Oh god. As a player in this follower dungeon here, you get like all the things thrown on you. It feels like all the time. God damn, that was a lot of lightning bolts. There we go. As we can see, the damage here was actually quite decent. Again, I know that my DPS is not that high since my gear is not that high. But again, on single target fights, I very often never gets to number one when it's against followers, because they basically scale up to you. So this one here was actually quite good compared to the other one I was testing. But as you can see here, it was using a lot of Lightning Bolt, Tempest, Lava Burst, Fire Blast, Elemental Blast, and it was using this single target rotation. So, pretty easy, pretty fun. Use my Gust of Wind to jump whenever like I had to jump away from something. Use my Spirit Walker's Grace to be able to move at the same time. And use my Ascendance and the start to like to do some burst damage. I could also have used my Earth Elemental to get 50% more HP, but I never really saw my HP dip down, so... But yeah. Funny fact also is if you go to healing done, you can actually see it's not like we do tons of healing, but because we had our totem down, I did forget to cast it again after it was done. But you can see the healing totem actually did heal 31k, and the shield did heal 38k on the tank, and also of course on myself, which is like, you know, it's not a lot, but it's still almost like 100k healing it did, because of, why not? Like it's still 100k healing additionally for your healer, so yeah, you know. But yeah, that was the little gameplay I wanted to show you. So as always, thank you so much for watching. This was the Elemental Shaman guide on how to min-max with the single button assistant, and basically just like a guide on how to play the Elemental Shaman with the single button assistant. So yeah, if you're looking for more chill gameplay, more relaxing, or maybe you need some help with the game, or you know, maybe anything else where you need to use the single button assistant, then I hope this guide was useful for you. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Yeah, basically thank you for all the support. It's great to see that all my single button guides are getting so much attention, so really appreciate it. Keep in mind, if you want the same UI as me, if you want the same talents as me, it's all on my Discord server, where there's a room for each of the specs that I have made a guide for. But in case you want to support the channel, feel free to become a subscriber by clicking the subscribe button. Feel free to like the video, and if you want to subscribe, if you want to support me even further, as I was about to say, also feel free to become a YouTube member. Your name will be in the end of the video. And yeah, I stream twice a week on Twitch, like Wednesdays and Fridays, in case you want to see me live and, you know, have a chat with me. So yeah, thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.